Hey guys, this is Anthony here at Artisan in Bedford. Quick reminder, these products do contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Alright, so for today, I've got for you the Fetch Pro. Pretty nifty 18650 pod mod. It is single battery, but as you can see, it's going to be taking 18650 instead of being internal battery. Pros to that is you're going to get better hits. Your battery is probably going to last a little bit longer, but it's definitely a stronger hit overall. Display is pretty cool. My camera sucks, so you can't really make out the display. Pretty basic. 5 clicks turns you off and on. 5 clicks off. 5 clicks back on. You've got, your basics, pretty cool features. 3 clicks locks your fire button. You can't fire it. You can't change your wattage. If it's going in the pocket, 3 clicks. You don't have to worry about it going off in your pocket. 3 clicks unlocks it. If you press both of these buttons down here, your plus and minuses, it only locks your wattage, lets you fire it. Your wattage won't change in your pocket. Click that off. If you go positive and power button, not sure if you can really tell with the camera, but it's going to change the color. You can tell a little bit down here. It's going to change the color scheme. And then down, so this button right here, down and the power button is going to clear your puffs. Getting into the pods, it's going to come with 2 different types of pods. It's going to come with an RPM pod, and then it's going to come with their new conical mesh RGC pod. Give you a look at the coils because the pods look pretty much exactly alike. So this giant behemoth of a pod coil is the RGC conical mesh. It's 0.17 ohms. It is rated 30 to 80. And then for your RPM, it comes with one of the standard 0.4 mesh coils. Nothing super fancy. We've been using these on all of their other devices, the RPM 40, the RPM 42, the new Pause X, all of that stuff. It's been using the RPM coils. Not really going to talk about the RPM coil and how it smokes. Most people know. I will do a little demonstration. It's the 0.4. It's rated at 25 watts. It is variable wattage, if I didn't mention that before. So set for 25. Try and show you one more time. I know it's really hard to tell. And then just kind of puff on that. Same old with the 0.4 RPM coils. Like I said, we've had those in the store. We've been using those for quite some time, so we know what those are like. But the kicker and my favorite part about this device, aside from it being an 18650, is going to be this conical mesh coil, because as you can see, I've got the airflow wide open, and this thing chugs. Running that at about 60 watts. The flavor is amazing. The cloud is amazing. And just to put it in perspective, I'll hit it again. And then just to kind of compare it to my Aegis box mod. Right, so not much smaller than what you're going to get from a dual 18650 sub-ohm tank with the conical mesh. Honestly, this device is really suited for people who either want to not have to wait for a charge. So big pro for me is that it's an 18650. When the battery dies, I just swap it out, throw another charged 18650 in there, and I'm puffing all day long, no breaks. Don't have to sit here and wait, you know, an hour and a half for it to charge. And then the conical mesh, right? Like instantly it turns it into basically a sub-ohm tank. The 0.17 is rated for freebase juice only. The conical mesh does have a 0.6, I believe. It's not a coil that we carry, but the conical mesh does have, the RGC pods have an RGC coil rated 0.6 that is for salt nicks. But right now with what we have in the shop, the 0.17s, these big guys right here are rated for freebase only. We don't want to be putting salt nick through these bigger coils. And just kind of a size comparison for you between the two. This is your standard RPM coil here, and then this is your conical mesh here. But yeah, and that's huge pros for me with this device. Is, like I said, the 18650, and then just the fact that the 0.17 really makes this basically just another sub-ohm device. Another con is going to be that we now have the Type-C charger on a Smok device. So if you do find yourself with no batteries around, you need to charge it with a cord, you still have that capability. And with the Type-C, it eliminates the problem of having to make sure that you know, are using a pretty basic box, you know, like wall plug box. The Type-C lets you throw it on a quick charge. Probably going to take 30-40 minutes to charge. You kind of want to avoid doing that with the external batteries. You definitely want to get them on an external charger. Just helps prolong the battery life overall. But yeah, and then like I said, you know, if you've got batteries on you, if you keep spare batteries on you, you just swap them out. Something I did notice, because I've been puffing on this for a few days now, is if you've got that conical mesh in there and you're running it at 60, 70, 80 watts, you're definitely not going to get a full day out of your battery. If you're running the RPM pod, you're going to get a full day out of your battery. It's running at 25 watts at 80 on an 18650. You're going to get good, strong pulls all day long. But as you start ramping up the wattage, you're obviously going to lose some of your battery life, because you're running it at max power. So if you do have spare 18650s on you, I definitely recommend you throw a couple in your pocket, in your purse, whatever you're carrying around. That way, so you know, when you are out and about, you know, you don't have to worry about it dying on you while you're out and about. You just swap that battery out. You keep chugging, no breaks. You just get to puff all day on a super great device. But just kind of recap, 18650 pod mod, huge pro for me. I can just swap my battery out when it dies. I don't have to wait for a charge. Type-C charger, so if I don't have a battery, I can charge it. I don't have to be picky about my charger anymore, because the Type-C is a smart charger. It's gonna kind of help keep the mod and the battery safe. It does have the lock feature, which a lot of pod mods are lacking, especially the non-variable wattage. You know, you throw like the Nord or the Nord 2 in your pocket, and it can just go off, right? The only way to lock it is to turn it off. With this guy, 3 clicks, your power is locked. 3 clicks, your power is unlocked. So, and then on top of that, if you get it to a wattage that you really like, you don't want to accidentally bump it off. Unlock it real quick. You can lock your wattage separately and still hit your device, right? So like the wattage is locked. I can't change the wattage, but I can still hit it. And of course, puff clear is always nice. It's always nice to to sit there and be able to count your puffs first off, and then to reset it so you can kind of see what like your daily puff intake is if you change from one day to the next. It does have the timer on it, so you can see how long of puffs you're taking. The only real con I've had with this device so far is with the conical mesh. If you're chain vaping and you're just like chugging on it and you're going for like 4 or 5 minutes, the mouthpiece gets pretty warm. But that's pretty much the only complaint that I have for this device, is just that like this metal piece on the tip, some of the heat from the coil is going to transfer up to it. And it kind of caught me off guard the first time, but other than that, like, everything about this device is solid. Give you a little bit more information on the pods. Both the coils are pressure fit, so they just go in the bottom here. This is the bottom of the conical mesh, and then both of them are going to have fill points here. The RGC pod is going to have a red tab, and then if we're looking at the RPM pod, it's going to have a black tab for the fill port. The bottom here. The RPM pod airflow is a little weird for me. This is going to be wide open for the airflow on the RPM pod. And when it goes into the device, it actually sits into the device, where the airflow is up against these walls and not hitting the airflow here. So pretty much whether you're wide open or you're closed a little bit, you are going to have some pretty restricted airflow. I think they did that primarily just because people who are on salt nicks like the more restrictive airflow, even just a little bit. It's a little bit closer to like a cigarette versus, you know, a sub-ohm tank, which is just like this huge cloud. The RGC pod, on the other hand, as you can see, airflow wide open. You can shut it off a little bit there, right? Like it's about halfway closed there. And then you can see, you know, the airflow is straight in with this airflow, because they want you to get as much air as you can with these 0.17 RGC conical mesh, because they really want you to feel like you're hitting a sub-ohm tank and getting a huge, good hit. And cloud with that is, like I said, it's just amazing. It's obviously not going to match any of the bigger sub-ohm tanks, but it gets really close for the device that it is. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. This is the Fetch Pro. It's the new 18650 external battery pod mod from Smok. We're going to be having these in the shop for quite some time. Like I said, really solid device. Love the fact that it's an 18650 pod mod, just because it gives you that compact size with the added capability of being, you know, just like changing out the battery. I don't have to sit there and wait for a pod mod to charge. I can just swap my battery out and keep going. Thanks for watching, guys.